All right. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Hutch here, and we're on Module 7, Lesson 4, and this is writing and solving multi-step equations. So basically what we're dealing with is putting everything together. We have distributive on both sides, variables on both sides, word problems, all that kind of stuff. So let's go ahead and break this down. I actually think you're completely capable of pulling this off if you remember all the things that I taught you in the past. So let's go through. Step 1 is just write the equation out. The next one is we need to expand the expression by distributing. So right away, I'm going to show my distributing arcs that I expect you to put. It helps you remember that you need to multiply it out to both terms there. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and expand our expression out here. So we have a negative 10x plus negative 5 times 3 is negative 15 minus x. Again, I like putting the 1, the coefficient there. Just helps my brain think. And then we have 4x plus 44 plus 1. Okay, so everything expanded out. We got rid of all of our parentheses, and so now we can start using SAD-MERG to solve for the variables. Remember, SAD-MERG just means opposite order of operations. All right, so let's go ahead and we could start moving things around, but it makes more sense to combine the like terms. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Now, when you're combining like terms, don't get tricked with this. You can't combine over the different sides. So we still need to be within the side that we're one side at a time when you're combining. So I have a negative 10x, a negative 1x. Over here, I have a 4x. Actually, no, that's not combining. I just have a positive 44 and a positive 1. So let's go ahead and get like terms combined on each side. So obviously I have, I'm going to separate my workspace here. So on the left side, I have a negative 11x plus a negative 15 is just minus 15 equals, and we have our 4x plus 45. Okay, so I've combined like terms. Now I can start moving things around using those properties of equality. Okay, so let's go ahead and get the 15 over there. So plus 15, that crosses out. And we're left with just a negative 11x on this side equals 4x. 45 plus 15 is 60, so plus 60. So 45, 55, 60, yeah. All right, and then we need to get the x's on one side, so I'm going to subtract 4x on both sides here. Okay, so that goes away, and we're left with a negative 11, 12, 13, 14, negative 15x equals 60. And now we need to isolate the variable. We have an x times a negative 15, so we're going to divide by negative 15 on both sides. Okay, and then we have our 60 divided by 15. I know it's going to be negative, so that's a negative 4. So we have x equals negative 4. And there we go. Okay, so you can see those addition property of equality, subtraction property of equality, division property of equality that we did. It's just saying that you can do the same thing to both sides. That's the property of equality. All right, so we have our x equals negative 4, and you're all set. Okay, all right. Let's go ahead and continue on. We have example 1 here. Solve multi-step equation, check your solution. Okay, which we know that is an annoying part, but it is part of making sure that you're good. All right, there we go. I've worked everything out there. Step 1 we know is to do our distributing. So do your arcs there and do a rewrite of your problem. So we have 6. 2 times a negative 3x is negative 6x. And then on the left side, we have 24x plus 36 minus 15x. Okay, we want to combine our like terms. So I'm going to combine the 24x and the negative 15x on this side. We'll get that combined. So 24 and a negative 15, different sign subtract, so minus 15 puts us at 9x. So on the left side, we have 9x plus 36 equals 6 minus 6x. And now we can go ahead and start moving things around using those properties of equality. So let's go ahead and why don't we add 6x to both sides? No. Let's go ahead, we'll subtract 6 on both sides. That goes away, and we're left with 9x plus 30 equals a negative 6x. Then we can go ahead and get our x's onto one side. So let's go ahead and subtract 9x to both sides. That goes away, and we're left with 30 equals negative 9 plus another negative 6. If you combine those, we have negative 15x. So there's that, and then now we need to isolate the variable. So we have x times 15, so we'll divide 15 on both sides. Division property of equality, that goes away, and we are left with x equals 30 divided by 15 is 2, but it's negative, so there we go. We do have to check our solution. I'm going to go ahead and use Desmos for this so I can just plug it all in. So let's go ahead and get this up, make it big version. So 3 times the quantity of 8 times negative 2 plus 12, close, minus 15 times negative 2. So we have 18 on one side equals, and then I'm going to go ahead, I'll just hit enter. 2 times the quantity of 3 minus 3 times negative 2, close parentheses, and we have 18. So good, and we check out, and that's all you need for that. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and try out this problem here. If you want to pause and try it and then check with me, you are welcome to do it that way to push some independence. Okay, step 1 is distributing. So we have a negative 16 plus 8x minus 3x equals 6x plus 13. I'm going to go ahead and combine some like terms. So I have my positive 8x and negative 3x here. So let's go ahead and get those combined. So we have a negative 16, 8765 plus 5x equals 6x plus 13. Now we can go ahead and use our properties of equality and move things around a little bit. So what the heck? Let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and add 16 to both sides. Why not? You can really do whatever you want as long as you follow the properties of equality here. All right, so we have leftover, we have our 5x equals 6x, and then 16 plus 13 is 29, so positive 29. Let's go ahead and get our other x over there, so we're going to subtract 6x to both sides. That cancels out, makes a 0 pair, and we're different sign subtract. We have a negative 1x equals 29, which just means the opposite of x is 29. So that means that x is a negative 29. You could also divide both sides by negative 1. It's going to get you the same thing. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and check and make sure we're good. So we'll pull out the trusty Desmos here and plug in our negative 29. So 8 times the quantity of negative 2 plus negative 29, close parentheses, minus 3 times negative 29. It puts us at negative 161. Let's do the other side. We have 6 times negative 29 plus 13 and puts us at negative 161. I got nervous there. It's such a big number. big, small number, I guess. All right, but we're good. All right, let's go ahead on to number 2. Same idea, just giving some extra practice here. So only difference is we have some decimals instead of our whole numbers there. But same idea. Okay, so let's go ahead. Distributive. Okay, there's nothing to distribute in the right one other than a -1. So there's still distributing that needs to happen, even though you don't really see the coefficient. So just don't get tricked by that. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and crank this out. I would definitely use your calculator when you're dealing with the fractions decimals, just so you don't mess up. So 0.3 times 10, even though it's a nice easy one. So we have 3 minus, so we have 0.3 times -5 is -1.5. Okay. And then we have our 31.5 comes down, and then all we're doing is distributing the negative. So we have a -8x minus 9. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and combine like terms. So let's see. We're good on the left side. On the right, I just need to combine those two. So we have a 31.5 minus 9. Okay, so if we rewrite this, we have a 22.5 minus 8x on that side, and a 3 minus 1.5x on this side. All right, time to move things around using our properties of equality. What do we want to do? I think I'm going to go ahead and just subtract 3 to both sides. We'll get rid of that. We're left with a -1.5x on this side. And then we have a 0.5 minus 3. So we have 19.5 minus 8x. And then let's get our x's onto one side. So I'm going to add 8x to both sides. Sorry, I should have changed colors there. That crosses out. And we're left with 19.5 equals, different sign subtract. So we have 8 minus 1.5, which is a 6.5x. And now I have an x times 6.5. So how do we get rid of that? Let's do our inverse, the divide by 6.5. Cross that out, and we are left with our final answer of x equals 19.5 divided by 6.5, and we get x equals 3, which sounds nice and pretty. All right, let's do our check, which is the annoying part, but it's got to be done. So let's just do it real quick. 0.3 times the quantity of 10 minus 5 times 3, close parentheses, and we get a -1.5, and let's hope it is equivalent to the other side. 31.5 minus the quantity of 8 times 3 plus 9, close parentheses, and we have a -1.5. We are good. That checks out. That's what I'll be looking for right there, that check. Okay, I'm going to circle my answers for the other ones, and here we go. All right, here we go. Check. If you want to pause and try this one solo to push your independence, go for it, and then you can check with me. Right away, you can see I'm going to do my distributing. I'm going to make that a -1, just because it's easier for me to look at, and let's do it. Okay, so distributing to get rid of our parentheses here, I have a 15 minus 7x minus 20 equals half of 6x is 3x minus 7. Okay. All right. And then we can combine some like terms here. I just have my constants, and that's it. So -20 and a 15 puts us at -5. So we have a -7x minus 5 equals 3x minus 7. Let's go ahead and start moving some things around. Well, what the heck? Let's go ahead and I'll add 7 to both sides, because that'll turn that into a positive. So let's see, 7 Different sign subtract, we end up with 2 here. So negative 7x plus 2 equals 3x. And then we can go ahead and get our x's all on one side. So add 7x. Okay, and again, it doesn't matter the order you do this as long as you get x's on one side and the single numbers on the other. Okay, those constants. All right, so we have 2 equals 10x. And then we'll go ahead and divide 10 by both sides since we have an x times 10. And that cancels out, and we are left with x equals 2 divided by 10, which is 2/10 or 0.2. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and test it out, and let's hope we did this right. So I'm going to hit enter, new line here. So 15 minus the quantity of 7 times 0.2 plus 20. Close parentheses puts us at a negative 6.4. Oh my goodness, I pray that the next one is the same. Come on. All right, so what do we have on this side? Let's hit enter. We have 0.5 times the quantity of 6 times, what was it, 2/10, 0.2. 0.2 minus 14, negative 6.4. Yay, good. We did it right. All right, that checks out. Okay, so we're good. All right, let's go ahead down to these ones. Of course, the next layer would be fractions. Luckily they just gave us half, which is nice. All right, so distributing a half isn't too bad. Distributing a negative 12 to fractions, maybe. All right, half of 6x, we have our 3x. Half of 4, we have negative 2. Plus 6x equals negative 12 times 1/6. They're basically asking what's 1/6 of 12. 12 divided by 6. 12 divided by 6 is the first part. And if you do 12 divided by 6, or if you just want to do 12 times the fraction 1/6, you can see it's 2. And so, but it's a negative. So you have negative 2x. Don't forget that, or your whole thing ends up being wrong. And then negative 12 times 2 is negative 24. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and combine some like terms here. We have the 3x and a positive 6x. I'm going to create my workspace. 6, 7, 8, 9. So we have 9x minus 2 equals negative 2x minus 24. Notice I changed the plus negative to just minus. Let's go ahead and start moving things around. I mean, really, whatever you want to do here, it doesn't matter. I'll just go ahead and add 2 to both sides. Why not? No right answer. You could add 24 to both sides if you want. It all end up being the same. All right, so let's see. We have 9x equals negative 2x. Different sign subtract. So I'm always thinking about that. 24, 23, 22. So we have negative 22. Okay. We got to get all the x's on one side. So add 2x to both sides. That whole thing goes away, and we are left with 11x equals a negative 22. Isolate our variable, divide by 11, and that puts us at x equals negative 22 divided by 11 is negative 2. Okay. And then it doesn't hurt to just negative 22 divided by 11. Make sure you're right. Yep, we're good. Okay, let's go ahead and check. Okay. You could technically check with your distributed amount, but it's always good to go back to the original problem because if you messed up your distributing, then it wouldn't show that you got it wrong. So you're sort of stuck typing this in. Now I can do 0.5 if I'm really confident in that instead of typing in the fraction. 6 times negative 2 minus 4, close parentheses, plus 6 times negative 2 puts us at a negative 20 for the left side. Let's go ahead and do the right side now. So we have negative 12 times the quantity of fraction 1/6, arrow over, times -2 plus 2, close parentheses, and we're at -20. Yay, good. It's always sad if you do that check and it doesn't work. Luckily, we've been doing pretty good. All right, go ahead and pause if you want and try this one out independently, and then you can check with me or follow along, up to you. All right away I see my parentheses, and so I'm going to distribute. Okay, remember, we're only distributing because there's variables inside. If there weren't variables, you would just solve it out. All right, so 3/4 times -5. I'm definitely going to type that out, okay, even though I could figure it out mentally. I don't want to make any silly mistakes. So times -5, okay, and so we have a -3.75x, and now we have, I could just back up here, 3/4 times a -8, and we have -6. Okay, equals, let's go ahead and do this side now. This is obviously a -6x plus 6 times 4 is -24 plus 1/4 x. Okay, so there we go. Let's go ahead and get some like terms combined. So I have a -6x and a positive 1/4 x. So we got to get that set. So -3.75x minus 6 equals, the 1/4 is just 0.25. So I'm going to go ahead and do -6.25x minus 24. Okay, then we're not even dealing with the fractions anymore, which makes us not have to worry about like terms, common denominators or things like that. All right, let's go ahead and start moving some things around here. So I'm going to go ahead and let's just add 6 to both sides. Cross that out. What are we left with? Well, we have a -3.75 on this side equals -6.25 on this side, x. Different sign, subtract. So 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18. So we're at a -18. Let's go ahead and we need to get rid of the, oops, I lost my x. So I noticed something looked a little bit weird, like, wait, why do I have a number over there? Okay, so it's good to pay attention and notice if something just doesn't seem right and figure out what you did wrong. All right, let's go ahead and move our x's around now. So I'm going to add 6.25x to both sides. Add 6.25x. All right, and let's go ahead and join that together. Just for the purpose of not making any mistakes, we have different signs subtract. So I'm doing 6.25 minus 3.75. And that gets me a 2.5x equals a -18. Okay, we have an x times 2.5, so we need to divide to get rid of that. And we're left with x equals whatever this is. So -18 divided by 2.5 puts us at -7.2. Okay, all right, so let's plug this in and see if we're right, or if, with all the talking that I'm doing, if I made a mistake. So here we go. 3/4 arrow over times the quantity of -5 times -7.2 minus 8, close parentheses. So we have 21 on this side. Okay, and let's do the right side now. I always just hit enter so I can see what my work was up above. Okay, -6 times the quantity of -7.2 plus 4. Uh-oh, is there more over there? Oh yeah, there is. Whew. Plus 1/4 times x. Okay, plus 1/4 arrow over times -7.2. Oh no. Okay, did something wrong. Let's figure out what it was. I'm going to look at my work too here. Let me shrink this up. Okay, 3/4 times -5 times -7.2 minus 8. I typed that in correct. -6 times -7.2 plus 4 plus a 1/4 times -7.2. Okay, so we must have messed up something. And so this is why you do the checks, okay, to figure out what you did wrong, okay? So maybe you already know what I did wrong, but this is good for you to see because you can walk back through with me and see how you would problem solve this. Sometimes I just redo the problem. Other times I'll go through and try to find where my error was, okay? But it's definitely not easy to go through. Okay, so 3/4 times the 5x. So I'm going to go through and sort of double check my work here, okay? The good thing is I've kept a lot of my work up above here, but anyway. All right, so let's go ahead and test that out again. So 3/4 times -5, okay, is -3.75, okay? So that's good. And then let's check our 3/4 times 8. 3/4, do you see what I did wrong yet or not yet? Times -8 is -6. Okay, so we're good with that line. Okay, so I'm making sure I'm really confident with these pieces up here. -6x, -24, so I'm good with that, plus 1/4 x, and 1/4 is 0.25, so we're good with that. I combine like terms, so -6 and 1/4. There we go. That's my problem right there. I have a -6x and a positive 1/4. So this is where my problem is, right here. Okay, different sign, subtract. So did you catch that when we went through it? Okay, so we have 6 minus 0.25, and that gets me at 5.75. So -5.75x. Okay. So different sign, subtract. That's where I messed up. I had to be really careful with that integer work there. All right, so now let's see. Some things are still fine. So we added 6 to both sides. That's good. This is where things break down here. So the only thing I have to fix is this from here down. So that's not too bad. So again, I know it's annoying if I don't just like do it right the first time, but it is good for you to see how to troubleshoot and how to go through that. And you can always move through me quicker if you notice I made a mistake like that, okay? All right, so let's go ahead now that we have the correct numbers here. What we're at, purple here, -5.75x. Okay, so now that we did that, we can go ahead and add 5.75x to both sides. Okay, that goes away. And I am going to definitely do this on the calculator just to be safe. 5.75 minus 3.75. So we have 2x on this side and a -18 on this side. Divide by 2, divided by 2, and we have x equals -9. Okay? All right, so let's go ahead and test this out now. Okay? So we have our fraction of 3/4 times the quantity of -5 times -9 minus 8, close parentheses. Okay, so we have 27.75, or 27 3/4, equals, let's test the other side now. So we have a -6 times the quantity of -9 plus 4, close parentheses, plus 1/4 times x. Okay, plus 1/4 times -9. 27.75. Yay! There we go. All right, we are good now. Okay, so there's that process. All right, let's go down to your write and solve multi-step equations. These ones you're going to walk through just some life situations that lead into distributive on both sides and stuff like that, okay? So the learn one is 4 friends bought zoo tickets, okay, and spent $9.50 each on wristbands for the zoo rides. So here's what I want you to notice again. So 4 friends, the same thing happened to the 4 people. That's why on the outside you see the 4, okay? So this is the situation for one person, okay? This is the situation for one person, okay? And outside of that is the repeated amount, okay? And then whatever's going on in this, there's some other additional $8 thing or something. Let's see what that was, okay? And let's also see, why is the additional $8 not happening to every single person? Okay, it's something separate. So let's see the word problem here. So 4 friends bought zoo tickets, okay? They spent $9.50 each on wristbands for the zoo rides. So you can see they bought a ticket and they spent $9.50 each. Okay, so that's the thing that goes inside that happened to each of them. And that's the one situation. The same day, a group of 5 different friends, so that's this, okay, bought zoo tickets. So there's our zoo tickets. And spent $3 each. So that's why it's in this section here. Okay. The group of 5 friends also rented a locker for $8. Notice they didn't each rent a locker. The whole group did. That's why that 8 is sitting out here by itself just as an add 8. Okay. They're letting you know that both groups spent the same amount. That's where we get our equal sign in between the two. And since they spent the same amount, each side has to equal the same. And so we're able to create this equation to find out how much each person paid for a zoo ticket. Okay, so that's just an example of how that sets up. Let's go ahead and actually practice some of the work down here. Okay, so here's some other situations you'll run into. Mrs. Hill is designing a rectangular vegetable garden for her backyard. The width of the garden is 11.5 feet shorter, okay, than twice its length. So it's a lot of like wordage there that you have to problem solve. I always like to draw some sort of a picture here, okay. The width, so here's our width here, okay. And it is 11.5 feet shorter, so that's shorter meaning subtract, than twice its length. So this one can be represented as 2 times L, so twice its length, but minus 11.5, okay? So the width is 11.5 feet shorter than twice its length, okay? So this is how I'm representing the width, okay? If the perimeter of the garden, meaning adding up all the sides, is 37 feet, what is the length of the garden, okay? And so we're letting L represent the length in feet of the garden. The width of the garden is twice, the length, okay, minus 11.5 feet. Okay, because we already said that. It's 11.5 feet shorter. Okay, so that's this part. So the expression 2L minus 11.5 represents the width of the garden. And we sort of figured all that out with our drawing. So write an equation that models the perimeter. Okay, so we know perimeter is 2 of the length and 2 of the width. Okay, and we know the whole perimeter, okay, equals 37 feet. So we're putting the whole perimeter in there, okay? And so we have two of the lengths. Okay, so here's length and length. So if we're adding up, we'd have to add this side plus this side. So that's what the 2L is. Okay, plus 2 of the width. And what did we say the width was? Well, we said the width was 2 to the length minus 11.5. Okay, so there's our equation, and we can go ahead and solve this out now. So separate your workspace. Okay, and this will actually tell us what the length is by solving for the L. Okay, all right, so let's go ahead and move things around. First thing we know is distributing to get rid of those parentheses. So we have 37 equals 2L. Make sure you do that like cursive L plus 4L minus double 11.5. I would just, to be safe, 11.5 times 2 is 23, so minus 23, and there we go. We can combine like terms, right, our 2L and our 4L, and so we have 37 equals 6L minus 23. Okay, move our numbers around here, plus 23 to both sides. Cross that out. And we have 37 plus 23 is 60 equals 6L. Oops. And let's get rid of, isolate the variable there. Divide both sides by 6. And 60 divided by 6, that's a nice one, right? 60 divided by 6 is 10 equals L. So it tells us that the length is 10. Okay, we'd want to go back up and check with our equation right here. Okay, if x equals 10, then both sides will work out perfectly. Okay, so we have 2 times 10 is 20. Okay, but actually we have to take care of the parentheses first. So let's just go ahead and type it out. So 2 times 10 plus 2 times the quantity of 2 times 10 minus 11.5. It'll automatically use order of operations, and there we go. You can see 37 equals 37. So our check works out. Okay. So what is the length of the garden? The length is 10 feet. And there we go. All right, so here's your check. They're asking you to take a look at this and see if you can find the equations that you could use to solve this. So let's take a look. The hallway in Oscar's house is in the shape of a rectangle. So like I said, I like to just draw a picture out so I can visualize it. The length of the hallway is half a foot longer than twice its width. So half a foot longer means plus half a foot. Okay, so 2 times its width, so 2W plus 0.5. Okay, so that's the length is twice its width plus half a foot. Okay, all right, and then the length is mystery L, right? But they are letting you know that the perimeter equals 31. Okay, so I know 31 goes on the one side. How would I do perimeter? Well, perimeter is 2 of the length. Okay, and, oops, sorry. This here, that's not the length, this is the width. Okay, so it is 2 of the width and 2 of the length, okay, added up. So let's go ahead and take a look here. We have 2W, okay, plus, so that would be this side and this side is the 2W, plus 2 of the length, which is 2W plus 0.5. Okay, I need to 2 of those. And if I add all that up, I would have 31, the perimeter. So let's go ahead and look at some of our equations up above and find the ones that match this. Okay, so I don't see any that say I don't see any that say this exact thing. So let's see. Let's go ahead and distribute this out. So we have 4W plus 0.5. Combine like terms. 6W plus 0.5. Oh, there's a 1/2. I think this one matches, right? There's our 2W plus 2 times 2W. So this one works. Do we have any others that match this? I don't see any. I don't see a 6W plus point. Oh, you know what? I forgot to, when I distributed this here, 2 times 0.5 is 1 whole. So you got to be careful. So do we have any other ones? 2W or the 6W plus 1. Yep, we have that one there. Let's see. If you look at this one you end up with 1 plus 6W, so that one would work. I think that might be it that I can find, okay, that match this. So let's go ahead and finish solving this out. Okay, these are sort of silly ones because you wouldn't do all these different options. You would just solve the one that matches and works. All right, so let's go ahead and subtract 1 on both sides. Separate my workspace here like normal. And we have 30 equals 6W. Divide both sides by 6. And we end up with W equals 5. Okay, so the width is 5. Let's go ahead and check and make sure that that is accurate. So we'll plug this in to our equation, original equation here. So 31, oops, sorry. 2 times 5. I'm plugging it into this here. Plus 2. Oh my goodness. 2 times 5 plus 2 times the quantity of 2 times 5 plus 0.5, close parentheses, is 31. Yep, we're good. So 31 equals 31. It's a good check. And what is the width of the hallway? The width is 5, is it feet? Yep, 5 feet. And there we go. All right. Let's go ahead and take a look at example number 5. You have Mr. Murphy's class of 20 students is going on a field trip to the Science Center. They will also watch the 3D movie. Mrs. Todd's class of 15 students is going on a field trip to the Art Museum and will take the audio tour. Admission to the Art Museum is 2.5 times of the Science Center's entry fee as shown on the table. The total cost is the same for both. What's the entry fee for students? So they're letting you know that for both classes it's the same. So I have an equal sign and I need to put one situation on one side, one situation on the other. Okay, so let's see what's going on. Mr. Murphy's is a class of 20 students. Okay, so I know that's going to go on the outside of my parentheses. And Mr. Todd is 15 students. So that's going to go outside of the parentheses. Okay, what is the situation for one student? That's what we want to know. Okay, all right, so let's go ahead and see what's going on here. So we have an entry fee of X, okay, for the Science Center, which is Mr. Murphy's. I was just making sure this is Mr. Murphy's and this is Mr. Todd's. Okay, so we have X for a student, plus the 3D movie is $250. Okay, and what's the situation for one student at the Art Museum? Well, for theirs, it's 2.5x is the admission, and their audio tour is +1. Okay, and that's what's happening 15 times for the one and 20 times for the other. So let's go ahead and solve this out. We're going to distribute the 20 to both sides and the 15. So we have 20x plus, and then let's go ahead and solve this. 20 times 2.5 is 50 equals 15 times 2.5 is 125.75 plus 15. Okay, we multiply both of those out. Let's go ahead and separate our workspace and solve out what a ticket price is. We don't need to combine any like terms. I did lose my x here. You notice that something's missing when you have two just numbers. All right, let's go ahead and move things around. I think I'm going to go ahead and subtract 15 from both sides. Okay, and we'll be left with 20x, 50, 40, 35, so plus 35 equals 125.75x. Let's go ahead and move our x's around. So subtract 20x on both sides. That goes away, and we're left with 35 equals 105.75x. And then let's isolate the variable. Divide both sides by 105.75. That goes away, and we're left with x equals, let's do this division here, 105.75 all right, let's see. It says that each ticket would be 0.33 cents. That just doesn't seem right. So I want to double check my positives and negatives and things like that as we go here. All right, so let's go ahead and look through here. I mean, I guess I could just test it out and see what happens here. So if we do 20 times the quantity of 33 cents plus 250, it says the one side is 56.6 and the other side 15 times the quantity of 2.5 times 33 cents a ticket. Plus 1 is 27.375, so it doesn't match. So something's not quite right, and we got to figure out what. 15, so that's good there. Let's try the 15 times 2.5. Yeah, that's where we messed up. It's 37.5 for this one. I don't know what I typed in for that one. I must have typed in something totally wrong. Because it's 15 times 2.5 is 37.5. Okay. So that's all still good there. This, though, wouldn't be. So let's go ahead. I mean, it's sort of weird that a ticket was 33 cents. So that was sort of a red flag to me that something must not be right. But again, it's good for you to see these little mistakes and go through the problem-solving steps with me. All right, so let's go ahead and continue this and test here. So we have 20x plus 35 equals 37.5x. Now we'll go ahead and subtract 20x, subtract 20x. That goes away, and we're left with 35 equals 37.5 minus 20 is 17.5x. Divide both sides by 17.5. And here we go, 35 divided by 17.5. That makes a little bit more sense. Okay, $2 tickets. Sounds better than 33-cent tickets. All right, so let's plug this in and make sure they match, because we definitely want to move on with correct work. So 20 times the quantity of 2 plus 250. So we're saying 90 on the one side. Let's test the bottom. 15 times the quantity of 2.5 times 2 plus 1. And there we go, 90 and 90. So it checks out. All right, so how much was each ticket? Each ticket was $2. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and try this one out. It's a good one for you to pause and try and then check with me, or you can do it with me. A group of 6 friends went to a basketball tournament game. Okay, so 6 friends. They each, so here's what happened for each kid. So I already know 6 friends, and each of them bought a ticket for X and spent $8.50. Spent means subtract. So minus $8.50. Okay, so they bought a ticket for $8 and spent $8.50. So the only thing with that is, this is a deduction. They spent a certain amount plus they spent another amount. So let's keep reading and think about this addition subtraction here, okay? Because if it asks what's the total amount they spent, which is probably what it is, then we'd be adding the $8.50 of spending, okay? So it could be addition here. So let's keep reading. Another group of 4 friends went to the championship game. So I'm guessing this. I can always change it if I'm wrong. A group of 4 friends went, and they paid twice as much per ticket, so 2 times the ticket thing, as the first group. And the group of 4 friends also spent $6.50. So they spent an additional $6.50. Write and solve an equation that can be used to find the cost of each ticket for the group of 6 friends. Okay, so we know that they equal the same, and so here we go. Let's go ahead and solve it out. Okay, so this is total spending, which is why we want the addition there. All right, so we would distribute. At least there's no fraction stuff. So 6x plus 6 times 850. We have 51. We have 8x plus 4 times 650 is 26. No combining of like terms that we need to do. There wasn't any additional costs or anything like that. So let's just go ahead and start moving things around. I'm going to go ahead and subtract 26 to both sides. That goes away. We have 6x plus 51 minus 26, different sign subtract, is 25, equals 8x. Let's go ahead and move our x's, so minus 6x to both sides. Cross that out. And we now have 25 equals 8 minus 6 is 2x. And then we need to isolate the variable, so divide by 2 divided by 2. Cross that out, and we have x equals 25 divided by 2 puts us at $12.50. Should be a ticket price. If they match out, then we are correct, and gosh, I hope we are correct. I can't handle another error. 12.5 plus 850. Okay, puts us at 126 on that side. Let's check the other side now. 4 times the quantity of 2 times 12.5 plus 650 close parentheses. Oops. Beep, 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 beep. Forgot to hit enter. There we go. Made me nervous there. Yay! Checks out. All right, there we go. So the ticket costs $12.50. There we go. Okay. All right, so we're good. All right, so that's everything there. I know it's a lot, which is why we're breaking it up. Head to your 7-4 practice homework. You don't have a second page on this. It's just what you see here. Let's go ahead and try these out. You don't have a ton of room, so if you need to, take a screen capture of this and put it onto the second page, you're more than welcome to do that. I don't know if I can fit this all or not. I'll try. So let's just go ahead and try number 1 together. Some things I would do is make that a -1g to just simplify things a little bit here. I'm going to go ahead and show my distributing lines, and I'm going to probably rewrite it up to the right just to have room. So let's see if we can fit this in. So -1g plus 6 plus 2g equals -4g plus -4. You should probably just put it on the second page. It's a little bit tight there, but we'll try. All right, I'm going to go ahead and combine like terms. So I have a -1g and a positive 2g. So that different sign subtract, that puts me at 1g plus 6 equals -4g plus a -4. Let's go ahead and move things around now. I'm going to go ahead and add 4 to both sides. So we have 1g plus 10 equals -4g. Let's go ahead now and subtract 1g to both sides. Cross that out, and we're left with 10 equals -5g. Divide by -5, divide by -5, and we are left with g equals 10 divided by -5 is -2. Okay, you do have to check your solution, so sorry about that, but you gotta plug it in. So let's go ahead and do that together. I have a -g, so a -2. Okay, it doesn't even like that. -g, so it's a -1 times a -2. That's what that is. So it's technically just 2 plus 2 times a quantity of 3 plus -2. Close parentheses. So we have 4 equals, let's hope the right side equals 4. -4 times the quantity of -2 plus 1. Yay, 4 equals 4. There's my check. So you got to have proof of that. Okay. I would probably go ahead and just take your, whatever it's called, lasso tool, and move these down. So copy and paste, so you have some more room to work down here. Okay. So let's go ahead and take a moment and do that. I think that'll be a lot easier. Actually, by the time you're doing this video, maybe I will just have done that for you, so you don't even have to do it, to save a little bit of time. So 2, 3, and 4 you can go ahead and work on, and then we'll check that tomorrow. And then 5 and 6 are just like the notes that we did. So I don't really want to tell you how to create those equations. I want you to do those on your own and see if you can figure it out. Okay. I know they're not necessarily easy, so really look at your notes and try to imitate what to do with these ones, because they are very similar. And then number 7 is just solving an equation like we've been doing. Okay, so go ahead, and I know it's a lot more for Norl, but I do want you to push yourself with some of the independence with that. And then I'll post the answer key later.